Well, this truck bed lining went a lot further than I thought. I didn't even use 2 cans to do the whole bed of this damn thing. Didn't put it on real heavy, but it's already got a coat of paint on there, real thick coat of floor paint. Just something so paint don't wear off. It's marine grade plywood, so that's on the utility trailer. I keep that stuff on hand all the time. Like I did this part, which is the clutch inspection plate for the El Camino. It's a 4-speed. I don't even have one on there, and this always gets smacked with rocks because it's like sitting up like that, and if you're going but down the road, it's hitting with rocks, so whatever paint you put on there, it's going to come right the hell off. But yeah, most of this can's done. But that went pretty damn far. I mean, that's like freaking, okay, it's 32 square feet, right? 4x8. So I thought I'd need more than that. I think I got about 5-6 cans. I thought maybe I'd use 4. But if you have your car and it's getting rusty on the bottom, blast it off with like the steam cleaner, not steam cleaner, pressure washer or whatever, some soap, and brush it down. When you let it dry, even if it's got surface rust on it, hit it with this stuff, this rust reformer, then hit it with that. That truck bed lining, man, that shit, I swear to God, I put it on the engine, valve covers, the intake manifold, water pump, the water manifold. The heat didn't even affect it. Some pretty powerful stuff, man. So I'm going to get up underneath here and get it with some of the rust reformer if I see any rust, because I cut it up on a thing here. Just crawl under there and just get some, hit it with the rust reformer here and there. But this thing, it's pretty freaking solid, man. So I'm amazed how far this shit went. I mean, I just thought it would take so much more than this. So a little bit there. As long as you don't have grease on it, shit sticks pretty good. Because actually, when I did my engine, I just saw some parts where the paint was flaking off, which I painted the engine with semi-gloss engine paint. And I just said, oh, I just got some of this truck bed lining left over, right? I says, let me just go. And you know what? That stuff's on there like a rock, man. The adhesion on this stuff is freaking fantastic. And I do like those little Confederate flags on there. They're epoxied on there. It should stay, and I got them clear coated. But, and I'm going to go over the lights on this thing. I think there's only one side marker light. This one right here. It's just got to have a little wire attached in there. That's the only thing wrong with the lights. And I'm going to actually, too, since, even though I got this bolted down, I'm going to put a couple of hose clamps through here. There's like a slot. I'm going to drill a hole and have a hose clamp through here and have it covered up with the truck bed lining black, just to make sure somehow if the wind doesn't catch up under there and maybe loosen that up over time and cause this piece of wood to come off or some crap. You're freaking flying down the highway about 65 miles an hour. I think you're only supposed to do 55 with these trailers, but I told them about 65, 70, man. They roll nice. I think as long as you don't have too much weight on them. The one thing you got to watch for, though, is their tire inflation. Like the tires, these little tires, they take quite a bit of air, quite a bit of pressure, and I'm going to change these out. But if you have these underinflated, they'll heat up pretty quick. If they're at the proper inflation, these are probably okay, because even though they're old, I'm going to change them out, though. I'm using them as spares. If you have them jacked up, I had this thing up on cinder blocks. As long as they're not crushed down, they don't get the cracks in them and stuff. But they're kind of old. I think I'm going to change them out anyway. Just use them as spares, but they're probably still okay. But the one place you can get in trouble with the tires is if you have them underinflated and you got a load on here. Because these tires they take a lot more than a standard 32 pounds on a passenger car. But they roll pretty good. So, what I like about this thing, it's like it's under 300 pounds for this whole trailer, and you could stick, you know, theoretically 1,100 pounds on it, or 1,150 pounds, and roll down the road with it. I wouldn't quite do that much unless it's really balanced good, but most stuff you're going to put on here is going to probably be only 300-400 pounds. It can easily handle that. And it's like if you're pulling like, say you got a 500 pound load and this trailer, say, is 300 max, right? That's 800 pounds. If you get one of these enclosed 4x8 trailers, that whole trailer is over 1,000 pounds empty. So it's like, you know, it's real easy to pull this thing. That's what I like about it. It just, and you know, you get a tarp on it, or you even get some construction trash bags, trash bag, not the lawn leaf ones, but the construction trash bags, the real thick ones. You wrap your stuff up real good, and you have it cinched down with trucker straps. This thing's okay, man. I did use this a bunch when I was coming down here to Florida, man. I made about 12 trips with this sucker, man. This thing really did a job. And it might be one of my more important buggies if I'm getting the hell out of here. So, you know, what would be cool too is illegal. I got a boat. Now I wouldn't put gasoline in this, but I got diesel. It's got some diesel fuel in it. This is a 60-gallon all aluminum boat gas tank that I got real cheap someplace, but it's all aluminum, and I made that thing for it. Now you wouldn't be able to use this as a, I don't know if you could or not, because if it's in a boat you can drive it down the road no problem. But if you made a saddle for this thing and you put it up on there, you got a 60-gallon tank you can transport down the road. You might be able to do something like that. You know, I guess you'd have to have it inspected, or if you're going to play the illegal way, maybe have it covered up. But you know, if you're not pulling gas, you're just pulling like fuel oil or diesel oil or something like that. That's an all aluminum boat tank. You know, if you had diesel fuel in the boat, you could pull it down the road. I probably don't see why you couldn't pull it down on this thing. You'd have a little mechanism here to transport fuel out to the field. So if you had like some diesel generators out there, or you know, diesel welders and stuff like that, you can pull that stuff out there, and you got 60 gallons. Pretty good amount of fuel, lasts you a while. But I like how this came out, man. I think I never even made, the last time when I did this back in 1996, I put marine grade plywood on it, and I didn't even paint the plywood for some years later, and I used some real cheap paint on the plywood. I didn't use floor paint, and the plywood was still good. Most of it good. It had like one really soft spot in it, even though it was kind of ratty. 20 years later, so I figured this might last freaking 30-40 years with this junk. So it is worth it doing the damn truck bed lining. It went a lot further than I thought. Just about 2 cans. There's a little bit left in it. And this was an expensive stuff. They got the professional stuff. It costs like $7-8 bucks a can. I think this is like around $4 a can or something. But you know, once this dries up on here, it doesn't wear out too easy and doesn't chip easy. It's a good surface. You can walk on it and won't slip too easy or nothing, because the paint could be kind of slippery. It's just got a little bit of a texture to it. So it went a lot further than I thought. I keep these 2 things. I keep this stuff on hand left and right. I used to keep the red rust zinc primer from Rust-Oleum. I used to keep that stuff on hand, but I like this stuff even better. It's a little more money, but it can actually converts the rust over. That's the only thing wrong with steel, is as long as you can protect that steel, once you convert that rust over, you can you know, protect it really good with truck bed lining. And you see this little can, this is like, well, it's an old can, but I always keep reusing this thing. I drilled a hole in here to fit the WD-40 wand, and you can turn this thing all different ways, and you can squirt it up in, you know, places like you can't get. In other words, if you're trying to spray this, say you weren't going to get on the bottom of the car, you want to get inside a hole in the frame that's a drain hole, and you want to spray inside the frame, well, you can take that wand, and what I do is I use that rust converting primer. Then I follow it up with the good quality enamel. And if there's any rust starting in there, that rust converting primer turns the rust into, you know, it chemically converts it and turns it into a hard primed surface, and then I hit it with a good quality enamel. So I do that up inside the rocker panels, up inside the doors. I do it on the El Camino. I do it on that Samurai Suzuki Jeep thing there. Everything I got. And I wish I don't think you can really do that with the truck bed lining with the wand because it's too thick. But you can do it with a regular enamel. But first you want to hit it with that rust killing primer. So I keep this stuff on hand left and right. Your biggest enemy is rust.